Hope you're doing well. Are you ready for another trip back to the bygone times? I sure am. Today we're going to look at this little Millefiori toothpick holder. It's glassware. You can see it's just 2 or 3 inches tall, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter at the top with the fluting. As I said, it's a toothpick holder, so you put your toothpicks in there. Today, this one is not being used in that way, obviously. It's just a pretty piece. So Millefiori is composed, the word is composed of 2 Italian words, mille, meaning 1,000, and fiori, meaning flowers. So you can see there are a lot, probably not 1,000, but a lot of flowery type patterns on this piece of glasswork. Millefiori has been around for centuries, dating back to at least like kind of the late Middle Ages in the Middle East for bead making and so forth. The first time that term was coined, though, was by Apsley Palat in his book Curiosities of Glassmaking, and it appeared in the Oxford English Dictionary in 1849 for the first time. Before that, the beads that were made in this style were called mosaic. And mosaic is another style of glassware, enamelware that you'll see in different pieces and eras. So, as you can see, as I mentioned, we've got these different flowers here. And so the way these are made is there are long tubes with patterns, glass patterns inside them. So each of these flowers would be part of a tube. And you couldn't see the pattern until you cut the tube. And so many of these tubes would be involved in making a piece like this. And so what they would do is they would make the tubes of glass and then heat them up to where they could be cut them to the thickness that they wanted, which is not very thick here, a few millimeters maybe, and then lay them out in a sheet and arrange them the way they wanted, and then heat them to the point where they could start to meld together a little bit, and then they would have one piece of glass that they could work with to do their glass work. And this one is hand blown. You can see it's a little tough to see here in this light, but you can hear it for sure. The pontil pattern, or the pontil mark there at the bottom, would be where the glass sheet was held, and the blower was had it on the stick and was working with the glass, and pulled the stick away and left the little kind of swirl scar. It's kind of like the umbilical cord, the belly button of the piece of glass. And then they would use their artistry, their tools, to design the piece that they wanted. In this case, it is a toothpick holder. So they made the fluted edges, kind of pulled it up a little bit so that there would be some place for the toothpicks to rest. You can see with my pointer there, it would be an awfully big toothpick, but maybe for a giant or something. You kind of get the idea there. Now this particular Millefiori toothpick holder is an example of Venetian glass, as is much of the Millefiori that you'll find today, probably produced in the Victorian era, roughly late 1800s, early 1900s. It is an example of also Murano glass, or Murano period. So Murano is an island that's part of or near Venice. So Venetian glass denotes the glass that's made in and around Venice, and much of that was made and is made in Murano, which is also known for its art glass today, but has a long history of glass making. So this piece, if you were to buy it on the secondary or tertiary market today, it's been around a while, it would probably run, I don't know, $100 to $200 or so, depending on condition and age. And again, this one is pretty old. You can tell by it being hand blown. And I know the provenance of it for the last 50 years or so. It's been maybe not in the family, but amongst friends and family for that long, and they bought it as an antique even back then. And also the pontil mark shows you that it is hand blown today. There's still some handmade glassware like this. You probably pay a premium for it, but much of it is, machine made if it's made at all. And toothpick holders, toothpickers, such as this are probably not that high in demand in the modern market for new items. Not an item you see a whole lot, sort of like not quite as obsolete maybe as ashtrays, but kind of along those same lines. Definitely an artifact of bygone eras. So we'll just finish off here by taking a look at a few of the flowers. This little guy caught my attention. Kind of looks like a dice, I think, like a 5 or a funky 6, or maybe a little puppy dog kind of looking up at you. This little white daisy, red-eyed Susan, whatever, is a little different than some of the others, although it has a match there. You could play a match game, I suppose, with this and find ones that match. Can we find another of the dice patterns? Well, there's a couple right next to each other. So not all that unusual for this piece, at least, I suppose. And then on the bottom, they swirl together. Almost makes a, I don't know, it kind of looks like a peacock feather system. You could almost imagine this is like the head of the peacock, and there's the plumage. He's strutting his stuff on the bottom of this Millefiori. And why not? I would probably strut my stuff too if I had feathers that looked like 1,000 flowers. Oh, any other pretty ones there? They're all pretty, and they all make a nice collage together. And some black ones would add some interesting contrast to all of the colors. So it's kind of a, overall has kind of that 1970s psychedelic feel. So maybe the 70s took some inspiration from Millefiori. Anyway, there is our little Millefiori Venetian glass Murano toothpick holder. Hope you've enjoyed this little run through the bygone times, and I thank you for watching.